Welcome to Black and Gold Digital Edition, a behind-the-scenes look at your Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hi, and welcome to Week 16 of our digital show. I'm Jay Pushko alongside Mike Fenner and the award-winning Kent Urbanski. Kent, explain the trophy that you got there. You earned it last week.
Right. This is a an incredible piece of hardware to add to the collection. Renegade Tailgate Man of the Year. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
I'm not sure what kind of criteria goes into an award like that, but it's certainly well deserved for all the work that you've done with the crew.
Right, right. Well, you know, as I told those guys down at the tailgate when they bestowed this major award upon me, that that they make our jobs easy each and every week, gathering fan sound-offs and feature packages that tailgate does above and beyond to benefit charities that I really and truly enjoy highlighting.
Yeah, kidding aside, it was a great honor for you to at least get that acknowledgement from everybody there during the tailgate before the Titans game. And, you know, without them, as you mentioned, we don't have those great stories that we can share throughout the year with certain background stories and features of the fans of Black and Gold Nation. So, well deserved.
Thank you. I mean, the only downfall was no champagne toast because I had to go in and shoot the game, so I had to be a little steady for that. But yeah, I mean, once I get this home, you know, I might have a party of one festivities when I get home. It should be fun.
Festive for the rest of us.
Yeah, Festivus for the rest of us.
He was still shoveling food in his mouth when they were making the announcement.
Right.
Mike, what a game it was for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, here we go again. It's been the theme all season. 3 quarters of play, just terrible, and then somehow they wake up in time and win the game. But in this case, they at least came through in the second half of play and played pretty well against Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, 13-3 at the half, you're down. Not feeling great because the offense couldn't get into a groove, but they had one forced turnover. They come up with 3 more in the second half, outscore Tennessee 16-0. They get the rushing touchdown, first time in 3 years from the quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, on a goal line play. They were determined to get him in there on the goal line. And
2 shots at it.
Did just enough there in the second half and played a gritty, grinded out type of game. I mean, it wasn't pretty, of course. 168 yards of offense. It's hard to win a football game like that in the National Football League, and you only have the football a little over 20 minutes. Titans almost had it for 40. But hey, they were opportunistic, and the biggest thing they did is not beat themselves. They didn't make the mistakes. 0 turnovers for the Steelers offense. 4 forced against the Titans, and you're going to win a lot of football games with that formula.
Some personal milestones in that game, too. As you mentioned, Ben Roethlisberger getting his first rushing touchdown since 2018, but he also becomes the 5th quarterback all-time now in passing yards in league history. T.J. Watt having another great performance, Ken, as he now has the single-season sack record in team history. And what can you say about this defense? And, of course, the addition of Joe Hayden back in the lineup really sparked that team.
Yeah, that was huge. You know, first with T.J. Watt, and what's incredible about that is he's missed a couple of games. So, you know, so I don't know where he might be even closer to Strahan's record had he not missed those games. But that's hard to say. Yeah, getting Joe Hayden back. I think he got beat early.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, he was
thankfully they dropped the pass.
A few steps behind. But then, you know, it shows what experience means in that league. And Joe Hayden showed up at the right moments in that game to cause turnovers, and at the very end play to keep them from getting a first down to keep that drive going and end the game. So those are huge plays.
Guys, it's hard to believe mathematically they're still in this.
Yeah.
They are still in this, even though they still have teams to leapfrog over. But, you know, Baltimore goes to Green Bay. They lose on a controversial decision again by John Harbaugh. And Cleveland having their struggles with COVID and losing to the Raiders. So maybe the path to getting into the postseason will be winning the division, but they have kept themselves in the race, at least for the final 3 weeks going into Arrowhead.
No question about it. I mean, they're going to need the Ravens' help this particular week against Cincinnati because of having those 2 losses head-to-head with the Bengals. But if that scenario comes up, they take care of business in Kansas City, you're talking about, I mean, these final couple weeks are going to be, they're going to be right there for that division championship because they've got a couple games now after this Chiefs contest that are going to determine things. If they can get a couple of breaks around them in the AFC North, still having Cleveland at home, Baltimore on the road. But of course, the big focus is this big challenge at Kansas City. And of course, I mean, we all know what they're capable of doing when they're playing well, and right now, they're on a roll.
Yeah, they have won 7 in a row, and this is the time of year where champs start to play championship football, and they've been the AFC representative in the Super Bowl the last 2 seasons, and they are no strangers to this. But everybody's been dealing with COVID, and it's
Right.
no different than the Steelers and the Chiefs going into this one. A lot of the things could be game time decisions based on tests and the results that come from it. But how does Pittsburgh somehow score more than 20 points? Tomlin mentioned it in his
Yeah.
presser, like, we can't win this game thinking that we're going to score
Yeah.
under 20 points.
Offense has to show up in this game, and it hasn't. I mean, you 4 turnovers, you're getting field goals out of it. That's not going to cut it on the road
No.
in Kansas City.
And they were getting short fields out of all of them.
Right. So, and they continue to get pounded on the line of scrimmage defensively, and people are running on them. They've got a couple of good running backs out there in Hilaire, and I'm thinking if they still have Kelsey out and guys like that they're just going to run the ball there, and I think they'll have some success against the Steelers doing that on the road. So Steelers are really going to have to go in there and like we talked about the time of possession with the Titans game, almost doubled it.
Yeah.
You can't have that out here. You're going to get beat. You get beat in a bad way. So the way you beat Patrick Mahomes is you keep him sitting on the bench. So you're going to have to control the line of scrimmage and own a little bit more of that time of possession to keep him sitting over there and give your defense a break. If your defense is out there too much against a guy like Mahomes, you're going to get tired third, fourth quarter. You're not going to have those surprise comebacks. It's going to be a long day.
And if they don't get the time of possession in their favor, Mike, how much of a stress is this going to be on the defense, just trying to make sure that they keep Mahomes and that offense in front of them, even though you got the likes of Cam Hayward and TJ Watt that like to be aggressive and go for the sack? They could get burned on something like that.
Yeah, you don't want to have them playing 70, 80 snaps, an absurd number of snaps. You don't want this defense to get worn out, and you don't want to take advantage of the fact that they've been playing such good quality football on that side of the ball and just wear them out. I mean, you've got to make sure this is kind of a balanced game. Stick with that running attack and try to maintain some sort of possession. But yeah, this past week, one of those numbers that's pretty alarming, 32 yards rushing, they gave up 201, I believe, on the ground. And I mean, that's part of what goes into a lopsided time of possession type of game. So, yeah, they're going to have to make sure they can help out this defense and give them some more breathers, because they need that pass rush to be at 100% and for those guys not to be just gassed come second half.
Right, and everyone's talking about, Minka had a great game. He was all over the field, but that's not a good thing. You know what I mean? That means that those running backs are getting into the secondary.
Exactly.
And
they need more linebacker level tackle.
Right, absolutely. And that needs to happen out here. And I think there's a crazy statistic. I think of when TJ Watt plays, they're like 7-2. When he doesn't, they're
50% or more snaps. Yeah,
right.
They're almost. I think they're 6-2 or 7-2 with him in the lineup at more than 50% of the game snaps. And below that, they haven't won a game this year.
Yeah. So having him healthy and I don't know, maybe he's got a little personal, chip on his shoulder, right? He's got a, he says no, but you're an athlete. I think he's going after that record,
Oh,
yeah.
And it only benefits the team,
Exactly.
if he's making
That's part of their formula to win the game.
Sure.
Yeah, he's one of those players, too, that he doesn't go outside their scheme.
Yeah.
He's going to go out there and do what he can to be a game wrecker when it comes
a good way
to
to
just
put it.
exactly
Yeah.
where he's just not going to go out of his responsibilities. He's
Right.
that disciplined between the ears to make sure that, hey, I'm going to go out there and make an impact, but I'm not going to do it at the cost of the rest of our defense.
Yeah, well, I mean, most of the time, those are drive killers that automatically almost force either a punt or a turnover when he picks up one of those sacks, because it just takes a team completely off schedule, especially like a matchup this past week against a team struggling to throw the ball. I mean, it could be a different factor if Kansas City is at full strength with their weapons this week. They can still kind of overcome those 2nd and 16s or 3rd and 12s. But still, a game record is the best way to put it, because you're basically just saying, okay, this possession, throw it away for the opponent, because he's been just such an impactful player and so important to their formula. But how about Joe Hayden? I mean, gets beat deep on that deep ball. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, same player he matches up with on the 4th and 6, and just gets right there at the right place, the right angle. I mean, he's at the sticks, but he's able to make that play. I mean, that was just massive, because you could kind of feel like even after all those mistakes, the momentum of that drive, it felt like maybe that could have been could have been dicey if they pick up that first down. You never know what that scenario turns out unless he makes that until he makes that play. That was huge.
You guys talk about time of possession. I mean, where has the run game for the Steelers gone? And Ken, has it been just the problems that continue on the offensive line, or do you get the sense that maybe even Najee Harris might be running out of gas a little bit? Because it's a long NFL season, and a lot of these rookies have never played the amount of football that they've had ever in their careers. And here we are going into Week 16. Could it be a combination of the two? Could it be one or the other?
Well, to me, they're a one-dimensional football team. They're not running the ball right now because the offensive line's not doing their job pass or run blocking. So, you know, what that does is forces the defense to come up, stack the box, and that's tough yardage, you know. And Pittsburgh doesn't utilize the middle of the field at all. So, you know, it's a situation where defenses, you know, like I said, one-dimensional. They're not a hard offense to figure out. So if I don't know, I think out here, what do you have to lose? You know, let's see. You know, I know we're not going to have Freiermuth. He's going to be out, you know, but let's see Gentry or some of the, you know, go over the middle. He's a big guy. He's a big target. Let's loosen that up a little bit. Maybe that helps the run game.
A lot of people joke that Najee Harris might already be like a third-year pro because it just seems like this season has been so taxing for him because of all those issues.
Right, he runs hard.
Yeah.
You know, so
I mean, once they get more, you know, quality linemen in there to help him, I think this season could really pay off for him in the future. I think this could really be a great lesson of like, okay, this is what you got to do when the circumstances aren't ideal, but. Man, he's busting it. He's been playing a lot, carrying a lot on his shoulders.
Well, even to me, you know, you see like a lot of how they use James Conner out in Arizona over the middle, and you know, I think you can get Najee out in the middle and out into the flats or something like that and gain positive yards. It seems like the Steelers struggle for every yard. You know,
he's got a ton of catches too. It's just not going for a lot. I mean, it's tough. These defenses know how to game plan for him.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for the insight. We'll see how it all unfolds at Arrowhead on Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs. The way the season has gone for everybody in the league, anything is possible.
Yeah,
so you can't just mail it in and think that this is a loss or this is a victory. They got to go out and prove it and earn it. So we'll see how it goes on Sunday. So for Mike Fenner and the champion, Ken Urbanski, award-winning Ken Urbanski, I'm Jay Pushkar. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for watching. Join us again next week for Black and Gold Digital Edition.